Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'm Yasushi Ishikawa, teaching professional Fodan. In this video, I'll be providing the commentary on the semi-final game of Kishin Europe Tournament 2025, the game between BuggyDClown and CrazyJohannes. So, Sente BuggyDClown is Mr. Edward Panko. He's getting stronger recently, and the Gote is CrazyJohannes, Mr. Kase Nishimoto, who is the former winner of the World Open Shogi Championship. So this is a challenging match for BuggyDClown, and let's go over the game. So just like the quarter final game, Sente chose the Ureshino. Mm. And went up the silver to the left side. To the right side is more offensive, and to the left side is a little defensive because Gote has the possibility to play Bogin from here, so it prepares against this. Mm. So this is the usual way for Ureshino to protect against Bogin. So, for example, if the silver comes here, center silver also goes up here usually. And if Gote drops the pawn here, it will be just an exchange of silvers. And if Gote pushes this pawn, then the bishop can come here and attack the rook. So it's not very easy for Gote to continue from here. And Gote just plays slowly. Not going for bogging, but just pushing this pawn and sometimes switch to reclining silver. And now center went up the bishop. This is also probably a defensive move. After the silver comes here, then the bishop protects this diagonal. And for example, if the silver goes up and drop the pawn later, the bishop, since the bishop is here, it can block the rook by pawn to h4, for example. But now he did this. The silver to 5-5 was also possible, but more aggressively he tried to exchange the silvers. And after the exchange of the silver, the bishop's position isn't bad for Sente, so Gote avoided that position. And Gote thought that after pushing this pawn, the silver to h6 isn't a very good shape. So Sente protected with the bishop again. And Gote pushed the pawn to attack this bishop. And Sente went up the silver to attack and also create the space for the bishop to go back and keep this diagonal. And now Sente started the attack. So it was a very difficult moves for each other until here. But I think Sente played well. And the time control is 10 minutes sudden death, and so each player need to end playing within 10 minutes. And Sente only used 22 seconds, and Gote also played very quick, only 53 seconds. Maybe Sente had experience with the similar position, not exactly the same, but similar, I think. Because Sente is getting a slight advantage here, in my opinion. Mm. Mm. So Gote protected the bishop's head with the gold, and tries to drop the pawn to 3-6 in the next move. Sente dropped the pawn here once, and created again the space for bishop to go back. And Gote also went back the bishop. This is not just a defense move. He's aiming for the pawn push in the next move to attack the silver. So Sente tried to exchange the silver before that. Mm. So both players are very good. Mm. So it's a very high level game until here. And the position is almost equal and it's mm, a balanced position, I think. Mm. So this is an important move. The king can escape in the end game. Mm. And now Sente doesn't have a really effective waiting move. So if Sente does this, then Goto will do this. And Sente, since there's only one gold here, even if the king comes here, the king isn't very safe, and the castle isn't fortified. So the king here and the king here benefits Gote. So and this is also a little strange, and since he can't do this because of this fork, so since it doesn't have many pieces to move, so just to continue the attack with this pawn. I was watching real time this game, and I also thought that this is natural in this position to push this pawn and drop the silver here. It seems a little heavy, but the bishop stays here, so the attack is enough strong. And Gote didn't want to exchange everything and escape the gold. This is also natural, I think. If the bishop comes back here, there will be a silver drop here, of course, and also if the bishop comes here, this silver drop again, and promoting here is annoying, so he kept the bishop to this diagonal. And Gote pushed the pawn, and bishop went back. So Gote has several pawns in hand, but Sente's silver is in the fifth rank, so and can advance to 3-4 and drop the silver to 4-3 if Gote does nothing. So still, this position is difficult. And Gote did this attack. This is a little risky since Gote can't give Sente the rook since the king is still here. The rook drop will be strong later, so this is a little risky, but maybe he thought that the position is slightly better for Gote, so he did aggressively. And Sente went back the bishop. So this pawn is not only aiming for the pawn exchange, but creating the space for the rook to escape. So as the actual game, since the pawn is pushed, the rook can come back to eighth file. But while saving the rook, Sente's position, Sente's king became also much safer than few moves before. So it is not a bad position for Sente. If Sente had many pawns, this was effective, forced to take with the gold. And if Sente has one more pawn, Sente could have dropped to 5-5 or advance the silver and drop to 2-3. But Sente has only one pawn, so it was a little difficult. So Sente just took this pawn and went back once. So there's also this kind of technique forcing Gote to take with the knight and just going back, not taking this knight, just going back and aiming for the pawn drop in the next move. This is also a technique, but just going back is also still natural here. And this is a good move to attack Sente's rook and the silver. If the rook comes here, then he will drop the silver here. And the pawn here, this is severe. And this is clear good for Wote. So Sete can't escape the rook to 3-7 and escape to 5-8. So the bishop is still protecting the silver, so Sente should just protect this square. And he pushed this pawn. So it was a very good idea, not just attacking this silver with the promoted silver, but using this rook to the second file. So he didn't use much time until here, but doing a correct defense and creating a very sharp counterattack. He's very good at this time control. Sente didn't really play a very bad move, but now Gote has the advantage. I didn't see a very clear mistake. Maybe here Sente should have dropped a pawn here and played like this or this, maybe. Seems like it was a little slow, just exchanging one pawn here, but just Gote's counterattack was good. So to save this silver, Sente should just take with the silver, but the rook can come here. The knight escapes, and the rook promotion. But still, this pawn is solid, so it's still a fight here. And the timing is very good for this pawn drop. And Gote did the same thing. So this pawn drops from both sides. Both moves are very good move. So taking with the gold is very dangerous because Sente's attack will be strong, and after the exchange of the generals, Sente can drop to 4-3. So this is not good. Just escaping the knight was also possible here, but Gote tried to do a counterattack. This is also natural. I Sente took with the gold, and this last drop is strong. Maybe escaping the king here and protecting this square, 6-7 square, was better, I think. But he just promoted the pawn, and Gote succeeded in dropping the silver here. So, a very good attack. First, dropping the pawn here. If the bishop takes, the bishop will be completely useless, so Sente took with the gold and create the space and drops the silver. A very good attack. But Sente also showed a good endgame here. Sacrificing the token is a good move. Gote took with the gold. And the fork is also possible, but the lance drop is much more difficult. The much more severe. And Sente could take the bishop. So Sente is also doing good. The position is better for Gote, but Sente still has chance. And pawn drop here. The gold escapes. So now the knight jump was a little slow. If Gote took this pawn, the knight jump is very effective, but now the knight jump doesn't have the very clear aim in the next move yet. So instead, this kind of move, attacking directly the general, was better, I think. If the gold comes here, then Celtic can jump the knight. If the gold comes up, then sometimes this kind of attack could work. if Gote takes everything, of course, Sente can just drop the gold and reverse the position. Maybe Gote will take this knight here or ignore here and take the rook and do something. But th this was better, I think, and it was a closer game, I think. So this knight jump isn't a bad move, but a little slow in the very end game, and the last drop was strong. And since Sente used the knight here, there's no more attack against Gote's king. So, Gote can also attack from here, but just slow down. And took all Sente's attacking pieces. And from here, it's difficult for Sente to capture Gote's king, so Gote got a clear advantage and won the game. And also, the remaining time was very few from Sente, so now Sente resigned. It's not already checkmate or something, but so Gote still has plenty of time, and also Sente has no effective attack against Gote's king, so Sente resigned. So as a conclusion, it was difficult from the opening. There were many lines, but both players played very fast, so maybe they had already had the experience. Not exactly the same, but the similar position. Mm. So from here, so Sente played well, keeping the bishop's diagonal and not letting Gote to capture the silver, and also attacking the bishop's head. So it's usually very difficult to use both silvers in this game, but Sente played well. And this is also what I thought, so this is natural. But Gote's attack from here was good. It was a good decision to use the rook, although it is still a little scary, but it was a good move. And the most important position was probably here. The pawn dropped to 2-2, or the pawn dropped to 5-5, and advancing the silver to Gote's camp somehow was better, I think, since the attack after a few moves from Gote was too strong. So maybe this wasn't the best move, but it's not easy to see Gote's attack here, so it was a little unlucky for Sente. And Sente played very well until here, but Gote's attack was very strong. And now Gote got a clear advantage, but this pawn is good. Maybe the king to 7-8 was better, but the actual game is still difficult. The sacrificing the token and dropping the lance is a good attack. This pawn is also strong. And now finally, this position, attacking the gold with the knight drop to 5-5. And then it was a closer game than the actual game, I think. From here, after the last drop, Gote played carefully and won the game. So as a conclusion, first, I was surprised that Sente played very well in the middle game with two silvers, the right side and left side. It's not easy to play correctly and use both silvers, but he did well. But the end game, CrazyJohannes, Mr. Kase Nishimoto showed his strengths and created a very good attack. I didn't realize his attack until he played that, so yes, he was very strong at the end game. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.